all out anyway. So good morning or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in this interview. This is my friend Shani, and she's in Honolulu. And I am right now in San Diego, so I thought, why not get her while I'm almost close to her, or as close as I can get domestically. But she's an excellent resource. She's a fabulous human being. And Dr. Vicki and I wanted to talk to her about her food freedom and what information and resources she may have for you, because the more you know, the more you know. So why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about you, why you became a coach, and how, just briefly, but how your Whole30 has impacted you.
Well, I started actually my first Whole30 in January 2018. So this whole Whole30 thing is pretty new to me. But I did start it from the diet mentality to lose weight. But I learned so much more in my first round. So I kept doing them. I did January, April, and August. And then I decided, I really love this. I think I want to be a coach and help other people get off the diet train and find out what foods work for them and what don't. And through reintroductions, I found out dairy and gluten and I are not friends. So that's how I start my food freedom, is trying to eliminate those.
So let me ask you this question, because it's a big question. Your very first Whole30, did you do what we call, and I'm using my little quotation marks, my air quotes, did you do a proper reintroduction, or did you maybe face plant a little bit?
I'm an upholder, so I did a proper reintroduction every single time.
Look at you, fancy.
And I was also part of Sarah Renfro, the Purse Whisperers group.
Oh, okay.
She did not have a reintroduction section, but it's just, why go through 30 days and just let everything go and not learn anything that Whole30 teaches you. So I have done a reintroduction every single time. I've kind of stopped sometimes because I know I'm not going to do gluten and dairy. So sometimes it's pretty short.
Right. Or you might just pull something else in that you want. Like, I know I tell a lot of people, maybe you do a Whole30 without coffee, or maybe you do a Whole30 without fruit or whatever. No, I know, I saw your face on the whole coffee thing. But the reason I'm getting into that, because this group is the Finding Food Freedom group, and a lot of people have problems finding food freedom. And I believe the first step is making sure that you did a proper reintroduction, because you can't get to step 4, which is food freedom, without doing a proper 3, which is reintroduction. Right.
You need the knowledge to move into food freedom. Otherwise, you're just going back to the you from 30 days ago. And obviously you're here because you don't want to be that you anymore.
Right. And you don't want to use Whole30 as a yo-yo diet, which I just finished up that email. So, all right. So you have done 3 to 4 Whole30s. You've done a proper reintroduction every time. So you're like a star pupil. Don't ask me how many times I face planted. I don't want to talk about it. But how do you know when it's time for a reset versus maybe a Whole30?
For me, everything manifests in my skin. So stress, dairy, I break out. I have zits, I get eczema patches in new places. So that's usually my signal to that I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not sleeping. I'm not drinking enough water. And maybe I've gone off the dairy train a little bit. And for me, it's not what kind of dairy or how much I eat in a day, but it's how often. So if I have it 3 days in a row, that's usually a bad thing.
Right.
And for me, that it's kind of an easy signal for me to see, like, you're not sleeping better.
Okay. Yeah, your skin's, you're kind of almost lucky because you can't get away with it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I just don't feel good, but if I'm decided I want to just be a rebel and I don't care, then it's just I don't feel good. It's that when it's on your skin, it's kind of like, okay, I got to do something
Right.
about this because it's what I
I always get those like, hello. Like,
Hello. Hi, I'm Derry.
yeah.
Okay, so what does your food freedom look like? How do you decide when something's worth it? How do you decide when maybe you want it, but I don't really want it? I mean, what's your thought process?
Just because dairy and gluten give me issues, gluten will give me a stomachache and a headache right away. It doesn't mean I don't eat it. Like there's a bakery here that makes Queen Amans. They're like croissant pastries with
Mm,
lots of butter and sugar, and it's delicious. And if I really want one, I'll eat it. And I know I'm gonna suffer the consequences, but in that moment, it's worth it and it's delicious. And some days I don't want it because I don't want to deal with the side effects. It's just I don't overthink it, and because of the reintroductions, I just know like, okay, well, I didn't have dairy this week, so hey, I can have an ice cream.
right, right. Um, for me personally, I have to set rules around food. So like like last night, I'm in San Diego, we're at a
Mhm.
conference. I've been on vacation for a week and a half at this point, and we went out and we had margaritas last night. So my rule is whenever I have something that's worth it to me, the next meal and probably the next two meals, I will make sure are whole 30, whether I'm on a whole 30 or not.
Right.
And that's my personal rule. Do you have anything like that, or you just kind of wing it and you're pretty set in your ways?
I tend to wing it, but I do just like you. It's one meal, it's one treat. It's not days worth of it. It's
Mhm.
not I hate using the word term cheat, but it's not a cheat day. It's you're indulging in one meal and
Okay.
the next meal or the next couple of days because I know there's gonna be reactions to it, kind of clean it up. But I eat mostly paleo anyway, and
Right.
this weekend I'm going out for sushi, so maybe
Have
this whole
some
week I'm
rice.
gonna be whole 30. It's birthday. My birthday on
That's
Thursday.
right. That's
Birthday
right. And
shenanigans.
she's much older than she looks. It's not fair.
You know what it is? It's collagen. It really,
Collagen. It is
I'm
true.
not lying. It really is a
Yeah,
collagen. It just makes everything.
it does help. It does help. Any advice for somebody who well, I'll just, this is me telling all my secrets. So I haven't had a problem with my sugar dragon in a very long time. And when I say very, I mean years. And
Wow.
earlier this year, I had probably 3 weeks, and I mean a solid 3 weeks, when I couldn't get enough sugar. And I was having a hard time. I have my rules, right? And I
Right.
would have some sugar, and then I would have my whole 30 meal, and I'd have another whole 30 meal, and then I'd find myself into the sugar again, and I couldn't get myself out of it. Um, and I had some strategies, but I finally did get out of it. But what would you tell your client who has had a 2 or 3 days of worth it foods, or somebody that's just found themselves, they fell off their bike and they can't get up by themselves? What would you tell somebody like that?
Do a mini reset. Put the whole 30 rules back in place. Do it for 7 days. If you've just done a whole 30, that's what this group is for. It's knowing when your body needs a reset. And sometimes our rules in our head and talking to ourselves saying, no, you don't need that. And then all of a sudden there's an Oreo in your face. Um, Sometimes we need to go back to the rules of whole 30, and it doesn't mean a whole 30 days. I think most of us coaches don't do full whole 30s anymore. We do a week or 2 weeks, and it's all about, I think a lot of it comes from healing your gut. Once your gut is healthy, just because you go off the rails for a few days, it doesn't mean you can't bounce back quickly.
Right. Yeah, I found that, well, I started my journey back in 2010, and it was before there was as much information as there is now. But it was like I would be paleo and I would do Whole30 and then I would fall off for like 4 months. And then I'd do it again and then I'd fall off for 3 months. And then I'd do it again and I'd fall off for 2 months. Now remember, this is back when we were all experimenting. But it
Right.
was funny because the more healthy I got, the less I wanted to be unhealthy. And now, honestly, I can only do maybe 2 meals before I'm just like, oh my God, I need real food.
That's
Like I
the
need some
goal.
protein. Like we were in the RV and I was like, we need some vegetables. Can we go get some vegetables? And I'm not the person that would ever say that, you know, minus
Right.
my little sugar dragon thing that I had. But typically it's just, I can maybe do a hard weekend. And then I'm like, okay, I have got to, I've got to have some, I call it Whole30 food. That's not really what it is, but I need some meat and
It's
veggies and fat. So yeah, we're all on the same page there. So if you're not to that point yet where you don't crave vegetables and whatnot, don't worry, it'll come. The more days you're a healthy person, the more days you'll be a healthy person. So there's
right.
that.
Eating
Um,
vegetables for meal one, right? Like sometimes I'm eating and I'm like, I'm missing something green on my plate and it feels weird. I'm like,
yeah. I'm the sweet potato girl in the mornings. I love the sweet potatoes in the morning or the spinach under my eggs. So that's good. Okay. Let's see. I think um you already talked about that. What is one? I'm not going to keep you here forever because I know you got to get to work. What is one? Oh, okay, well, you got to get back to work. What's one piece of advice you would give a new Whole30 person who just did a reintroduction and they're going into food freedom?
don't be nervous or don't be scared about food freedom. Every day we all learn something new. And just because you screw up, you need to let that go. You didn't screw up. You had a little road bump and it's fine. Just be nice to yourself. And we all here love you. So just really every day is a new day to get better and be better at you, be better at eating and be better at being healthy. So just relax, and if you do go off the rails, just come back to Whole30 for a few days.
Use it as a learning experience and just move on. And maybe you won't do that tomorrow or the next day or the next week, right?
And if you do, and it becomes a habit, then, hey, you have to sit down and have a hard talk with yourself. Like, what's going on here? Are external things affecting me? Like, am I going through a breakup? Is work really crazy?
Right,
You need
right,
to examine everything.
right. Examine the whole entire lifestyle, the sleep, the stress,
Mm-hmm.
the movement, the food and everything. And of course, because we're Whole30 coaches and we give and give and give, you can always reach out to all of us if you are having a big problem. So there's that. All right, Pumpkin. Well, I appreciate it. And I appreciate you taking your time out to talk to the group. And I love you.
Bye.
Bye, baby.